And welcome back to Stories from the River. This is your regular host, Charlie Malouf, with my business partner, our president and COO, Manny Rodrigues. We're here today to talk to you about our word of the year for 2026.
Welcome to Stories from the River, a show in which we go behind the scenes at Broad River Retail.
Hey, Manny, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, Charlie. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. We're in the midst of our VIP Summit. I think it's like the fourth major event we've had this month alone in January. We're in between two winter storms that seem like this year they're coming heavy on the weekends, which is not great for retail, but trying to keep everyone safe. And looks like you are layered up and warm there today.
Layered up. Yes. Well, we have a resilient bunch of memory makers here. And absolutely, today is a learning day. We have that VIP summit going on with all of our amazing partners. So thankful for Synchrony, for Progressive, for Qualify, and for Fortiva. Everyone's here, versatile. And I'm excited to be chatting about our 2026 word of the year.
That's right. So we unveiled the word of the year. So I'm wearing my Memory Maker Awards Gala pullover, which is a nice gift I got after the gala, which puts a bow on 2025. Our word of the year then was pioneer. And so we go through a process now, Manny, which really involves and enrolls our leadership team, a little bit of competition, competing, but to kind of try to capture the zeitgeist. And they go through this exercise really, start thinking about it in October, November. We get together as an executive strategy team, kind of look at the votes and try to land the plane. And so we unveiled our word of the year for 2026 at our last town hall, which we featured on this podcast, recapping that episode. And so what is our 2026 word of the year?
Our 2026 word of the year is forge.
That's right. And when you saw the 5 finalists, Manny, that we had from the 5 teams, did you have an initial reaction? Did you think one was like, where did Forge stand for you? I remember we were at a WOBE, World Business Forum, and we were kind of talking about the finalists.
Yeah, I remember that conversation well. And, before I get to kind of favorites or kind of what, I really just enjoy the process. One of our core principles is that we make better decisions together. And I love the process. It involves our leadership team. They get in groups. They do compete. It is competitive. It's good to have that kind of gamification. But they're really understanding of how important the word is to our programs, to everything that we do throughout the course of the upcoming year. And so just like Pioneer was an amazing choice for 2025, I'm really excited about the team that picked and really laid out a really well thought through plan for the word forge. There were some amazing other opportunities. But when I first saw the list, there were a couple that stood out. Forge is not a new word for us. That had been a word of consideration for years past. And so it was a familiar word, but it just felt right. The team really connected where we were in 2025, understanding where we're going in 2026, and it made the word come alive. And you could see it, how important it was for us to meld, to come together, to forge forward in 2026. So it really came to the top. The votes, of course, got it there. And and kudos to all the other words. We might see them again in 2027 or 2028. Words like lion, words like cultivate, transform. They're really, really good words that hit a lot of the key metrics or a lot of the key things that we look for, like staying power, building programs around these words. They're just 2026 is our year to forge.
Okay, well, there was a lot there. I want to just go back to the question. Did you have a favorite when you saw the 5 finalists?
Initially, yes, I did have a favorite because there was a presentation that kind of had like hard stop. I was like, wow, that's unbelievable. And as our audience knows, you've talked about it. We've had podcast episodes about it. We're on a journey. We're on a journey to get to a 500 million by end of 2030. And so when I saw Will Luke and his team get up there and they kind of played that back to the group, and they put up the word billion. Well, our goal is to get to 500 million, and them ripping that billion in half, and it came up with the word lion. It was, and even the room kind of just took a collective, like, whoa, this is
Yeah.
unbelievable. So
Yeah.
lion was probably for me personally the leader in the clubhouse, with a close second to cultivate, because there is a lot that when I think about planting seeds, doing today's work, there's a lot that that resonates there with that. But those were probably my two faves.
I want to make sure I'm understanding the timeline. What I'm talking about is prior to seeing the presentations. Did you have a favorite when you first just saw the words? I understand the collective gasp upon Will Luke's team that kind of ripped the lion and billion in half, and the room did have a kind of left it. Oh, that was cool. That was good.
Yep.
But when you first saw the 5 words: spark, cultivate, transform, lion, and forge, what do you think?
There were 5 words that I probably didn't have on my list
Okay.
for 20. So these were words that were not on the big board, but that's why the process is important,
Okay, so they
because
were unexpected.
they were
Yeah,
unexpected.
yeah. And listen, this is this is the second year that we've involved a collective process, right? And where we get into teams, we gave them a little bit more time this year, and they kind of knew the journey that we were going on. The previous year's team that was got Pioneer. You mentioned Forge had been a consideration. That they actually had Forge initially and discarded it and replaced it with Pioneer, and then presented, and that got voted on as the favorite. So this year, when I first saw the words, of the 5 that I saw, we go through a process, and part of it is, hey, it can't be a one and done type of word. It's got to have staying power for the whole year. It's got to capture the zeitgeist of where we are in the moment as a company, an organization, where we think that our industry is, where Ashley Furniture is, Ashley Global Retail, the Ashley stores, where we see the country, the macro economy, and what is going to work for us for the whole year. My first reaction on the 5 was probably leaning towards cultivate. It seemed like a good encore to Pioneer is to go till the soil and prepare it and get it ready. That was the one that probably percolated to the top for me. But I wanted to go through the process and to see the presentations. And it was a democratic process. It wasn't just like you or I voting.
Yep.
And so what emerged was some really great thoughtfulness from all of it, like multiple words that, first of all 5 of the words got votes, by the way. So this was like the most competitive type of situation we've ever had. What Forge was, it was like number 1 or number 2 in most people's votes. For instance, I didn't know that I would have such resonance with Spark because it seemed like to me like that it might be a one and done. Like Spark is like a one-time event, but really how they kind of presented their plan, I kind of got it and it percolated. But really, the team that presented Forge, their thoughtfulness on tying it to things like our profit sharing program and tying it to things that kind of will live throughout the year. I thought they did a really nice job with the thoughtfulness behind that and why it was the perfect encore word to Pioneer. And so given kind of where we are and what we're going, this kind of durable scalability phrase that we talked about, from strong regional to disparate locations all across coast to coast to a national caliber organization. Why do you think Forge was the right word for where we're going as an organization?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, so Forge, it really is coming together. Forging ahead is pushing through, being resilient. It's melding. It's working. And so forging ahead is really for us in 2026 as we look to enter a new market in the Northeast with Portland, Maine in May. It takes what it takes. It takes every single memory maker, every single department coming together to make it happen. We just saw that with the opening of Spokane. We can't get to day one in Spokane without each department having their fingerprints on it. And that took a pioneer type of mindset to go 2,500 miles away. What's it going to take now from a durable scalability, from becoming a regional player to a nationwide player? It's going to take us forging forward together, not leaving anyone behind, making sure that our cultures are connected, whether we're operating in the Northwest, Northeast, or right here at home in the Southeast, that we are connected, that we are forged together, because it's our culture ultimately that really makes this thing special. It's
Yeah.
our culture because our customers feel that, our memory makers feel that, and our communities feel that.
So talk to me about the presentation and some of the graphics that the Forge team presented, because
Yeah.
I thought that may have put them over the top with how
Yeah.
they really unified and tied together their word of the year and illustrated it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. They were really intentional with incorporating programs such as the profit sharing program, really naming it in their presentation, the Foundry, like really, really cool. And not just naming it, really, taking the story from last year of that cool astronaut that was pioneering, and they took that astronaut and they said, "Hey, it's time. He's going to work in the Foundry. Like he's got the tools, he's got his apron on, and he's chipping. He's doing the work. The work needs to get done each day. A win the day mentality." And so they really brought it home with the programs that we do across the year, and yeah, they were really intentional, even with the imagery.
Yeah. And not only the imagery, then I also thought that their word choices, it just seemed like it just kind of percolated and immersed itself into my soul a little bit. Like just, and we're going to get them on here to kind of, I don't want to steal their thunder by using their phrases, but when they're, what word choices or phrases kind of resonated with you when they were speaking and giving their presentation?
Well, well, first of all, I love that it's so deeply has impacted you.
Oh
It's
yeah.
great. The word sticks with us for the
Man,
full year.
I gotta feel.
Oh
I
yeah.
gotta let myself feel something, and I gotta feel it like in multiple ways. It's not just an intellectual feeling; it's got to be an emotional feeling.
You are a feeler. You are a feeler. So I listen. You're right. You got it. You got to be all in on the word because it's with us for the course of the year, and we get energized by it, and really we start to see it everywhere. Right? It becomes known. Really, one. If I had to pick one, I'd say how they talked about being a sunrise company when they talked about our vision of our 2030 vision, and how this was just the next step in that vision, to forge, like in order for us to hit our goals, that we needed to forge ahead,
Mhm.
forge forward together. And so yes, we love being a sunrise company. That means that every day we're waking up with the optimism, with the intention to continue to learn, continuous improvement, personal excellence. And so yeah, I mean, they did, to your point, they did a really nice job of connecting a lot of the stories, a lot of the key elements that we focus on, and they brought them to life with this word of the year.
Yeah, I think the forge. What also comes to my mind is courage. You know, and to forge ahead, you may not know what the unknown looks like or what's around corners, but you're going to continue to go. So I think that makes it a good right behind Encore word to pioneer. Right, it continues that courageous spirit. Also, what I heard was builder. You know, we're here to build something. You know, we planted the seeds. Now we got to build it, and then building it the right way. You know, building with strength. I heard craftsmanship,
Mhm.
and so these were kind of the words that kind of surrounded the kind of the sphere of the ecosystem of Forge that I thought, man, that's got power. Now, I think this might be the last thing I want to ask you. Why, we've been doing this thing kind of since 2015, last 10 or 11 years. Why is a word of the year important? Like, is there a return on investment to do it, going through the bugaboo and the rigmarole and all the work and effort and the graphics and the designs for word of the year? Like, why do it? What's the payoff?
Well, I would answer it this way: yes, yeah, 100% there is. There is a return on the investment. There is. Is it worth it? Yes, it is. Yes, if you go about it the right way. You have to put the time in. It has to have the intentionality. So again, this is what our leaders bring to the table. They show up, they care, they spend the time together. We go through this process because again, we make better decisions together, and it activates. It's a rallying cry for the year. Retail is a team sport, but we know a season's long. You mentioned it at the beginning of the pod. We're in between two snowstorms here in the Southeast. Like, it's not easy. It's not easy. You're having to deal with things left and right. But Pioneer and now Forge, it's a rallying cry. It's something that we can look to as we cascade, as we communicate out the vision for the year, our goals for the year, and it keeps it consistent. It keeps it clear for everyone to get behind it. And so absolutely important, but you've got to spend the time. You've got to spend the time to be intentional, just like the team was. And it is something that we have a lot of fun with, or we have a lot of swag with, whether it's a T-shirt, whether it's some cool imagery, and so it all connects. And you know what? We remember those years. I remember being united in 2020. I remember our year of purpose in 2019. These are things that, as we look back, they're chapters. They're chapters in this book, and they're worth reading. They're worth telling, and we have some fond memories about them. So I'm looking forward to creating a lot more of those memories here for others, for our customers, communities, as we forge forward in 2026.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that in the rearview mirror, maybe they are artifacts or a good anchor reminder for the year that, so a year just doesn't become a kind of a dot on a chart, right? A tick mark that you just kind of buzz past. It really does kind of color in. It colors in the year for you. Going into the year, I think that some people have their own separate word of the year for their own lives, and some people just adopt what we have. I mean, last year, I really let myself adopt Pioneer, and it was going to give me a little bit bolder spirit to make more courageous choices. And I think that I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable with letting the chosen word of the year just percolate and be something in my reticular activating system and something this my frontal lobe, and I'm thinking about throughout the year. And we put it on our computer screens or our phones or our coffee mugs, or or stickers or laptop stickers or what have you, or T-shirts. It's something we think about, or in our programs. The Foundry 2026 Foundry Profit Sharing Program. So they did a really nice job. There's a lot of thoughtfulness to it. It really kind of captures the zeitgeist for where we are and where we're going in this year, and to build programs around it. I don't know if there's a financial ROI, but I do know that it's kind of core to our DNA. We do believe that language is cultural. There is something about word choices and imagery that kind of can be what you're about and what you think about, and kind of can stitch as you get bigger and bigger and broader, it kind of stitches everyone together and pulls the steams back together in case they come apart, so we can kind of unify and be connected through that means. But it's a cultural unification, and then it just keeps business fun. I mean, business might be a little bit dry if it was just about dollars and cents. So it makes it something a little bit more emotional, a little bit more joyful, a little bit different, and no harm, no foul, I guess. But what would you advise? Last question here. I promise you this is the last one. Even if I think of another one, I won't ask it. So last question here. What would you advise another company going through a word of the year process? How would they approach it? How would they go about it? What would be? You haven't gone through multiple cycles on this now.
Yeah. Well, I think the key word there is process. And so I'll use some of the P's that we love to use around here at Broad River. Number one, it's people, right? It's people. It's understanding. It's talking. It's getting connected with your people. And so enroll them in the process. Talk to them about it. What could it look like? What could it sound like? Why would we use it? And so there's just as many companies in our industry and outside our industry have been generous to us with their time. Go look and see. Go talk to other companies that do this, might do it well, and ask them questions. But people, process, and ultimately the why behind why to do it is understand the purpose. What will this purpose be for this word of the year, for this program? So those would probably be the key notes I would give to them. But I would tell you, after having gone through it now multiple years, it is well worth it. It's well worth it to go through it. And I would encourage anyone to kind of go look and see and ask some more questions.
Yeah, and I think to add to that, what I would advise companies and folks to do is to use one of the successful habits from Stephen Covey is begin with the end in mind. And so I think about like, what are you hoping to achieve? And so in that, I might set up the parameters, like here's how you want to kind of go about your process, or think about like, do you want it to be one or two people thinking about it? Do you want it to be a collective group of 50 people, the whole company, and it votes? So what's your process? What are your parameters? What's your governance around it? How does it capture the zeitgeist? How does it have staying power? Don't let it be tired and done by January. And how are you going to let it breathe from month to month, quarter to quarter, week over week? And we've got documents. If they want to reach out to us, we're happy to share them. Kind of the governors and parameters that we've got. Okay, Manny, thanks so much for joining me today to talk about our process. And for coming up with a word of the year. One of the core tenets here at Broad River Retail, having a word of the year, that's become cultural to our DNA. So thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Stories from the River. Catch us every week on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and do us a favor, subscribe, leave us a comment, and mash that like button.
Thanks for listening to Stories from the River. To check out more episodes, visit storiesfromtheriver.com. To watch this episode, go to youtube.com/@storiesfromtheriver. Join us again next week, and remember to like, rate, and subscribe to the podcast.